It's been enforced for 20 years. Now the PNG Forest Authority feels that the time is right to review the country's logging code of practice. This is basically to ensure that those involved in the industry understand guidelines on sustainability, culture, and biodiversity as updated since 2013. Jeheb Akia reports.
Forests are one of the most important resources that we have in the country. Forests in the country have been harvested since the colonial days, and the logging industry has contributed immensely to the government coffers. Despite this, with the rising concern of climate change, nations are beginning to realize that the conservation and management of forests are vital. To this end, even the Forestry Act is currently under review to ensure forests that are cut down are replaced with new trees, so future generations can also enjoy the same benefits as the current. The PNG Forest Authority is also working in partnership with the Tasmanian Forest Practice Authority, with funding from the Crawford Fund project to review the logging code of practice.
It will assist towards assisting the PNGFA monitoring staff as to how they can go about when monitoring using the logging code of practice, the main logging code of practice, how they can be able to oversee the biodiversity aspects of the forest that they monitor because of operations that are going on, logging operations that are going on in the various project areas. You know that the project areas, the operational areas are not they are not the same in all that. The geographical locations are completely different from the different coastal areas around the country.
The one-day workshop held in Port Moresby to look at this and how forests can be properly managed and which areas can be harvested without destroying the natural environment and biodiversity in the country. The workshop aims to ensure participants understand guidelines within the logging code of practice. The code was introduced in 1996 to encourage sustainable use of PNG's forests and was revised and updated in 2013, particularly in the areas of culture and biodiversity. Dr. Sarah Monks, who is a consultant working on the revised logging code of practice, said forest planners have to be able to identify the natural and cultural values in an area before trees can be harvested. This is to ensure that the natural habitats and flora or fauna are not destroyed in the process.
But a series of guidelines which give information to forest planners on how to identify certain natural and cultural values like hollow trees that are important for a lot of Papua New Guinea's animals, birds in particular, and mammals, but also how to identify the geology so that the planners could decide whether or not a certain area was more erodible than another certain area and could choose the best places to harvest trees without causing environmental damage.
Under the review, technical guidelines will be taught to forestry workers, planners and landowners. Discussions were also held on how these guidelines may be used in the forest management planning. PNGFA Acting Managing Director Goodwill Amos said a value cannot be put to the forests we have in the country. He pointed out that different stakeholders held the forests in different regards, according to their specific fields of knowledge and operations.
Someone once asked me when we were working on the 2050 Vision 50, 2050 vision, someone asked me, what is the value of our forest? And I said, the value of our forest here in Papua New Guinea and also in the world is priceless. We can't value the forest. The only one that put the forest there knows the value, not us. Because for a forester, we are more interested in the timber stocks. To the biologists, they're more interested in, the fauna or the flora. So there are, different stakeholders that consider the forest and their respective values and all that. So the forest that we have here, the whole 80% that covers this, the land mass of this area, and also 60% that is still intact. It's very valuable to us.
He added that such training in identification of natural and cultural values in managing forests is important for the successful implementation of the LCOP. With 80% of the country's population still living in rural areas, forests continue to be an important part of the lives and well-being of Papua New Guineans.